the madman who told the truth, the life and wisdom of Diogenes. He had no house, no job, no wealth. He slept in a barrel, barked at people, insulted kings, and yet he was one of the freest men to ever walk this earth. This is not a story of a philosopher. This is a story of a man who refused to live a lie.
In the 4th century BCE, in the city of Sinope, a man was born who would go on to spit in the face of society's most sacred rules. His name was Diogenes, and he wasn't here to play nice. Where others taught in classrooms, Diogenes taught on the streets. Where others wore robes of wisdom, he walked barefoot through filth. He called himself a citizen of the world, a cosmopolitan long before the word existed, and he believed that truth didn't need permission to be spoken. When Diogenes arrived in Athens, he carried only one thing with him, a mission, to expose how fake, how fragile, and how foolish society really was. He saw rich men worrying about sandals while the poor starved outside their gates. He saw teachers who spoke of virtue but chased after fame. He saw people worshiping gold, status, and lust like slaves in golden chains. So Diogenes made it his job to mock them all.
One morning, the people of Athens saw something strange. Diogenes, walking through the marketplace in broad daylight holding a lantern. They asked him, "What are you doing?" He replied, "I'm looking for an honest man." He never found one.
He lived in a broken barrel. A dog was his best friend. He begged for food, insulted the powerful, and laughed in the face of death. He believed that to be truly free, one must not be owned by anything. Not wealth, not opinions, not even desire.
Plato was the crown jewel of Athenian intellect, polished, articulate, revered. A student of Socrates and the teacher of Aristotle, he represented the very peak of philosophical prestige. In his academy, thought was elevated above all. Logic, ideals, and definitions were his currency. To Plato, a philosopher was a guardian of truth, a sculptor of reason, shaping the world with ideas. But to Diogenes, this was a kind of prison made of golden bars. Where Plato saw a world of perfect forms, Diogenes saw pretension. Where Plato defined man as a featherless biped, Diogenes plucked a chicken and dragged it into the academy, declaring, "Behold, Plato's man." The students erupted in laughter. Plato did not. In that moment, Plato wasn't the towering philosopher. He was a man cornered, mocked, and made to face how brittle intellect can become when detached from the messy, chaotic truth of human life. To Diogenes, Plato wasn't wrong, just incomplete. He had ideas, yes, but he lacked the raw earth under his nails. And in Diogenes' eyes, no truth could survive without dirt, without discomfort, without reality. That's what made Diogenes dangerous and unforgettable.
One day, Diogenes saw a boy drinking water from his hands. He immediately threw away the only possession he had, a wooden cup. "A child has beaten me in simplicity," he said. This wasn't just a moment of humility. It was a revelation. Diogenes understood something most of us forget. We collect things not because we need them, but because we fear being without them. He didn't want comfort. He wanted clarity. One day, the most powerful man on earth, Alexander the Great, visited Diogenes. He stood before the philosopher and said, "Ask of me any favor." Diogenes looked up and said, "Yes, stand out of my sunlight." Alexander laughed and said, "If I were not Alexander, I would be Diogenes." And that's the thing. Even emperors envy the man who's free. Diogenes died as he lived, without fear, without fanfare. Some say he held his breath and ended it himself. Some say he was bitten by a dog. Others say he died of food poisoning. He didn't care how he would be remembered. He only cared whether he had lived without lies.
In a world addicted to appearances, Diogenes was naked. In a world chasing comfort, he chose discomfort. In a world obsessed with opinions, he barked like a dog. He was not here to be liked. He was here to show us the cost of living a fake life. So ask yourself, are you living freely, or are you just following the script? Because Diogenes didn't need your approval. He just needed the sunlight.